Hello, hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. Today we will be discussing the items and animals of Harry Potter. So, this will be the last video for the Harry Potter series. Let's jump right into it, shall we? Starting off with animals. Nargles. These non-existent, extinct creatures have a very large affinity for messing with people, specifically Luna Lovegood. Now, she can't prove they exist, and she's never seen one, but she still believes that they not only exist, but really enjoy messing with her. They do it constantly, and if there's anything that she can't readily explain, it's usually the Nargle's fault. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I'd buy it.
I'd do it too.
Yeah, so many things in the Wizarding world of Harry Potter that can't be explained. An extinct creature. Yeah, I'd buy it. Moving into Thestrals. These are horse bat snakes. Yeah, it's a pretty solid, yeah. So they are black skeletal beings with the main body of a horse. They have still a horse's face, but kind of like reptilian features to it. And then they have bat wings that are appropriately sized for a horse, not a bat. Yeah. It's not like the bumblebee, where its body is too big to be carried by its wings. According to all known laws of aviation.
But it still does.
Yep. Because bees don't care what humans think is possible.
Nope.
Leave a comment if you know where that's from.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, yeah, they've got a pretty big association with death, to the point where only people that have had experiences with death can see them. We don't know what counts, though. Apparently, well, not apparently, but, like, theoretically, almost dying to a Quidditch ball to the back of the head would count.
Yeah. Theoretically.
Having your cloak set on fire might count too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was mean. That was just rude. Spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1. Oh no, he's casting a spell on my friend. I'm gonna commit arson.
That's how it be.
Feel like you skipped a few steps there, but okay. Moving on. Before I move on. Thestrals are supposed to be very dangerous. I figure because of the whole death thing. What are you gonna do about it? Moving into the final animal that I have, because pretty much everything else can be made, is already a D&D animal, for the most part. Gwyndalos. Gwyndalos. It's a fun word. I'd use the mermaid stats. The only real difference I saw between the Gwyndalos and mermaids are the looks, and that wouldn't really affect the stats a whole lot, in my opinion.
Maybe charisma.
Maybe charisma. Definitely charisma.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, Hedwig is pretty easy to make. He's an owl. He's a pretty cool owl. Hedwig carried the entire movie series. Changed my mind. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah. Moving into items. Oh boy. There are a lot of them. We're going to start off with one of the most, like, recognizable items in the entirety of the series. The Howling Letter. From, like, a DM standpoint, I would use this to mess with characters a lot. Essentially what this thing does is they receive the letter and they have to open it. They don't have to open it immediately, but if they don't open it immediately, the effects are worsened, meaning it screams louder and is angrier. These letters are generally used to convey an extreme feeling of anger. So, yeah, there's that. What it does is it shouts the message aloud, like very loudly, just as loud as it possibly can. reading the contents for everyone around to hear, and then after that, it destroys itself. Whether it be to fire, the one Ron had ripped itself to shreds and then disintegrated. I would assume there are other ways it could destroy itself as well. Really, that's up to the DM's discretion. But yeah, it shouts a letter at people, so you know, fun times if you're the DM. Yeah. What's the next item on our list? I've already forgotten.
Deluminator?
The Deluminator. Yes.
Innator.
This Innator. We have to do that at some point. Moving on. The Deluminator. Yes. It can move light. Yeah. So essentially what it does is it would be able to remove and then replace light depending on how many charges it has. Now, I would do it to where you have as many charges to replace light as you have taken light. So, if you've taken away one light source, you have one charge to put back one light source, if that makes sense. I would say that you couldn't put or place light if you hadn't taken any away. I would also say that you couldn't place light in a place that it wasn't supposed to be. So, like, you can't just light, right? You have to put it in a sconce or a lamp or something. Like, we see it in the beginning, they take street lamp lights out. So you'd have to put them back in the street light lamp. You couldn't just, like, light up a wall. That would be me. It also, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. You've made it the entire series thus far. It's really on you at this point. Yeah, apparently it can be used to lead people back to where they need to be. We don't know a whole lot about this, but essentially, the person the wielder of the Deluminator is led to needs to say their name aloud. The person wielding the Deluminator then hears this. Then the person wielding the Deluminator needs to open it. The light will flow into them. Don't know how that happens. That's left completely unseen. And then, from there, the wielder of the Deluminator can find their way back to the person that called their name, even going through, like, warding spells to get to them. So, yeah, that's the property of the Deluminator. What's next?
The Invisibility Cloak.
Yes, this thing. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Invisibility Cloak, for those who might not have been able to hear him, I don't know how well he came across on camera. There's no telling at this point. But yeah, I would put it under the category of, like, uses the greater invisibility spell, with the exception of the, like, time limit. So, I would say they're under the effects of the spell for as long as they're underneath the cloak. Limitations could include number of times per day or per week or per however long that that they can be under the invisibility cloak. So, like, 5 times per day, for instance, you can go under the invisibility cloak just to keep people from abusing this power and this ability. That's kind of DM's discretion. On top of that, technically speaking, if they were to have Harry Potter's invisibility cloak, you couldn't do this. But if they were to have another, like, knockoff invisibility cloak, you could do it to where if they used all of the charges up in a day, they had to make a d20 roll with nothing added to it, and then on a natural 1, it would lose its invisibility properties. Now, of course, the players wouldn't know about that. You could, like, hint at it, but they wouldn't know how the property works. I would say. Yeah, that's just me. What's next? I think I have a guess, but what's next?
Resurrection Stone.
The Resurrection Stone. Yes, this stone. Yes, it's the Resurrection Stone. It's a stone. It is very stony.
Yes.
Stone-like. You can use this stone to essentially bring back people from the dead in a limited fashion. It brings them back, but they remain kind of in a ghostly form, and other people can't see them. From there, you can converse with them and all that. I would say this effect, it would be able to bring them back for a matter of minutes. I would say probably 10 minutes, almost a ritualistic casting spell time. Well, technically it is the ritual casting spell time. So yeah, you could be able to do whatever you wanted with the dead for 10 minutes. I would probably put this at a one-time use per person thing, per character thing. That's just me. Next we have the Elder Wand, correct? We've gone through all the Deathly Hallows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a super powerful wand. I don't know what made it that way. There was nothing that would explain it to me. I spent a solid 3 hours researching it, and I couldn't find anything. But so yeah, bear that in mind when I say what properties it has. We're gonna move on. All of this is homebrew. Here in a minute. What we do know technically canonically is that the wand follows the person who disarmed its previous owner. So that was the whole thing. Not going to spoil any more than that, because technically I should have said spoiler alert, but as I said before, you've made it through the entire series thus far. You should be okay on your own. But yeah. So yeah, all of the properties I'm giving it D&D wise have nothing to do with the movie. I would say that the wielder of the Elder Wand had the following kind of abilities. They would have the maxed out spell damage, which sounds powerful, and it is. But maxed out spell damage, double range and duration for spells. So if you have to make an attack roll, or something like that, or the spell lasts for a minute, well now it would last 2 minutes, that sort of thing. People would have a disadvantage on saves against your spells, and it would remove the concentration check factor of concentration spells. So technically you would still only be able to have one concentration spell active at a time, but you would no longer have to make a concentration check every time you took damage. Because I don't want you casting haste on the entire party at once. I'm sorry, that's way too overpowered. But yeah, so that's, I would say that. And yes, it's powerful, but I see this as more of the end goal item for a campaign. So level 20 characters fighting a giant boss that's wielding the, what's the thing? Elder Wand.
Elder Wand.
I don't know what I was trying to say, but it took me a while. I don't know what happened there. So yeah, what's the next item on our list? Do we start the...
Faux Glass.
Faux Glass. Yes.
Faux Glass.
I was thinking flue powder. That's later. That's way later.
Yes.
The Faux Glass is a pretty simplistic item. Essentially what it does is it shows your enemy in varying degrees of clarity depending on how far away they are from you. So right now, Chill is 8 feet away from me, so if we were enemies and I was using the Faux Glass, he would appear very clear. If he were outside my front door at this point in time, he would appear slightly foggier, and then if he were back at his place, he would appear pretty foggy, right? Someone, on the other side of the world from you is going to appear very just cloudy, and you can't make them out at all. So that sort of thing. That's really all it does. I would kind of use this as a lower level, scrying glass, except their surroundings weren't shown to you at all. But it also has other uses, you don't know where they are, but you know how far away from you they are. So yeah, that sort of thing. What's next?
Marauder's Map.
Marauder's Map. I was thinking we would get there at some point soon. Yeah. Essentially, this map shows the location of everyone in a specific area. So, for the movie, it was Hogwarts. For your campaign, it could be Hogwarts, or it could be somewhere else. It just kind of depends on where you want to use it. It has a couple of passcodes that make it work and keep it from working, respectively. You need to say the correct password, I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good, to turn it on so you can read the map. And then you need to say Mischief Managed to turn it off to where no one can read the map. That sort of thing. Because technically speaking, it's just those passcodes. It's not an attuned thing. Mm-hmm. It's anyone can use it as long as they know the passcode and the off thing. The off passcode. But yeah. It just shows locations. It's pretty useful for sneaking around and that sort of thing. It's more utility than anything else. What's next?
Remember All?
The Remember All. Yes, this is a clear, like, glass or crystalline, if you would like, orb that fogs up when the wielder has forgotten something. It doesn't tell them what they've forgotten, so it's very useful. But, you know, I would use this as a DM to mess with players. It would be really fun because, like, oh, if they're planning over there to fight the big bad evil guy, your remember all goes off. What'd you forget? Something stupid like you forgot to sharpen your sword last night. But you don't know that. What's next? Now that we've ruined players' lives, what's next?
The Revealer.
What does this do? Oh, is this the ink?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's just a magical eraser that reveals invisible ink. I don't really know why I put it on there, but I guess it could be useful in like a utility standpoint. So like, you're writing a message and you use invisible ink, and then you receive a message and it's also written in invisible ink. Revealer! And problem solved. Or like you intercept the message and it's like, wait, it's just paper! No. So like that sort of thing. But yeah, it doesn't have a ton of use aside from that. What's next?
Sneak Scope.
You're gonna have to remind me on this one. I'm sorry.
This reveals when an untrusty person is near.
So just give like advantage on
insight checks.
Insight checks, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what this looked like, unfortunately.
I don't either.
I don't know if I ever saw it. I know it's in the movies, I just don't remember if I ever saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea. If I'm remembering correctly, it was in... Was it in the Dumbledore's Room of Requirement? I think it was, but I can't remember. Maybe. But yeah, it's just... For lack of, like... Because I don't know what it is, I would maybe make it like a brooch or something. Some sort of item for usability, I guess. Because I think it's something more like an actual alarm system in the movies, but I would probably turn it into like a brooch someone could like pin on their shirt, and then like it would just give you advantage on insight checks to help you determine whether or not someone's lying to you. That's really all I would make it into. What's next?
Weasley Family Clock.
I love this thing so much. So, the Weasley Family Clock, there's one in existence, and it's owned by the Weasleys, and it shows you where someone is, or what they're doing. So, like, it'll say, Ronald Weasley, at school. I forget Mr. Weasley's name, but Mr. Weasley, traveling, right? And it's got, like, it's got one name for each of the person. I'm pretty sure Harry's on there at some point, especially in the later movies, so they can keep an eye on him, because Mrs. Weasley worries a lot. But, like, so yeah, it's at school, at work, traveling, that sort of thing. Another location is in mortal danger. We don't know what that means. So do with that what you will. Yeah. I love the clock, though. It's got so much utility to it, like... But it's not really practical for a D&D session, unless you've got your own, like, hold, and you constantly send people out on their own, like, side quests and stuff. But, like, it's just a cool item, in my opinion. What's next?
Quidditch and Wizard's Chess.
Yeah, these are pretty straightforward. Quidditch is kind of as seen. You've got the brooms that are in D&D already. Even magic carpets that are also in D&D already. And Wizard's Chess is kind of what I imagined happened anyway, where, like, you would go through playing the games and the pieces would move automatically or, like, whack each other. And then after you're done, I figured they'd just reassemble. It's magical. Like, you can just reassemble the pieces. So it's just what I would imagine. But aside from that, it seems like Wizard's Chess is just chess with magical pieces, which is really cool. Next.
Horcruxes?
Yeah, go on that one, friendo. The first one was the diary, correct? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes? Cool. So yeah, I kind of use this diary as like an anti-rememberal thing. So like, you write something down in the diary and it can't be forgotten, right? Or like, you could use it as like a window into an event that happened as long as it was written in the diary. So like, War of 1812. Now you can go back and view the War of 1812, that sort of thing. Because no one wants to write down all of what happened during the War of 1812. That would not be fun. Would not be down. So yeah, that sort of thing. And given that the words written in the diary, I know I'm scribbling without actually scribbling, but yeah, given that the words written in the diary sink into it, no one would be able to read it, therefore no one else would know what you can't forget, or what you were going back and looking through. So yeah, next is the ring, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
Marvelous
ring?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, none of these Horcruxes were magical. All of this is complete homebrew. All of it. 100% homebrew. Because I thought it was dumb that the most powerful soul bits in the universe weren't magical. So I went and created individualistic magical things for all of them, because it makes sense. Sorry, I'm not bitter. I'm just upset. But yeah, the ring. I said that you could use it like once per day to give it limitations, because it's a pretty powerful item. As a reaction, you could use it to negate a spell effect on you. So like, someone casts Power Word Kill, and I go, not today, I've got a ring! And then Power Word Kill just doesn't have an effect on you, so you've wasted their 9th level spell slot, which is really nice. Yeah, that's really it. I mean, there wasn't anything else I could go off of for it. It's just one of those, like, it's a ring. What can a ring do? I don't know.
Many things.
Deflect spells, I guess. What's next?
Hufflepuff Cup.
Yeah, so this was less powerful than the ring. Because what do you do with a cup? Like, please, leave a comment. Let me know, what else could I have done with this? So, my idea for it was, it could be filled up, like, with whatever drink the drinker wanted, and then while it was in use, it would never run dry. So kind of like, to cross-reference here, kind of like the thing that happens in Doctor Strange, where Thor is sitting with a mug, and he drinks it, and then Doctor Strange, like, waves his hand, and it fills back up, and he's like, hey, and then drinks it again. Yeah, that sort of thing. I've had this idea for years, and just kind of never really had the chance to use it in my campaigns that I've run. But yeah, it's what else do you do with the cup? What's next? The Slytherin thing, right? What did I say that was going to do? You're going to have to help me there.
It slowly causes you to go insane.
Yes! This is a very fun cursed item. I've used this before in some of my campaigns too. Yeah. This is a not cursed locket. Slytherin locket, to be specific. So, the wearer swears on their life that it's not cursed. Everyone else swears on their lives that it is cursed. It's so obviously cursed, except to the person that's wearing it. And then it slowly causes everyone to go insane, because, you know, this constant back and forth argument as to whether or not this obviously cursed item is cursed or not. Like, you know, it's fun. It's really fun as a DM just to, like, see what your players do. I can attest to this. I used it with Chill.
That was fun.
Next is the diadem, right?
Yeah.
The Ravenclaw diadem. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Gives the wearer... probably, did I say attuned? Yeah, because it's a powerful item. Gives the attuned expertise and advantage on intelligence-based checks and saves. So yeah, it's pretty solid for wizards or anyone else. Like, it's just kind of a useful item. But I figured Ravenclaw is supposed to be the intelligent one, intelligence-based things, well, makes them more intelligent, because Ravenclaw, yeah. It's kind of easy to figure out. I didn't make the snake.
No.
I'm not going to make the snake. And I didn't make Harry, because I've already made Harry. Go back and watch my first video. Shameless plug time. Yeah. What's next?
Gryffindor sword.
Yes. So this is just an indestructible sword that appears when a true Gryffindor needs it. I don't know what true Gryffindor means. I assume that would be up to the DM because, oh no, I've almost TPK'd. How do I get them out of this? Sort of Gryffindor! And the problem solved. Moving on.
Yep. Philosopher's Stone.
Okay, the Philosopher's Stone has very specific uses. It turns all metals into gold, so don't let the rogue get a hold of it. Or say goodbye to your swords. And then you need the Philosopher's Stone. It was the Philosopher's. Did I just get that wrong?
No, that's right.
Stone? Okay. I was thinking the Resurrection Stone. Philosopher's Stone. You need the Philosopher's Stone to make an immortality potion. I forget exactly what it was called. But yeah, immortality potions. Very nice. What's next?
And the Mirror of...
It's just...
Erased.
Erased?
Yep.
Erased? I don't know. I don't remember. Yes. For those who aren't extreme Harry Potter fans, this is the mirror that shows people their deepest desires. It's the one in the first movie. I think it was the first movie. I don't remember right now. Or I'll kind of run them together at this point. I'm pretty sure it was the first movie that showed Harry and Harry with his parents. It shows the person in front of it what they want most. We don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. We're nerds, but we're not that nerdy. That's all I've got to say. The next is the two-way mirror, correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. So this is just safe communication between the people that hold the mirrors. Essentially what happens is you say their name, and that causes their mirror to turn on, and then you can have a conversation back and forth that can't really be, like, viewed upon by someone that isn't in either of the two rooms. Not good if someone got captured. Very good if you're trying to hide. What's next?
Hermione's handbag.
Ah, you mean the bag of holding.
Yes.
Straight up. Hermione's handbag is the bag of holding. I looked it up, just because that's what I was thinking it was anyway, but I looked it up and it says, what's the exact quote for me? Speak loudly so they can hear you.
Literally says, bags similar to this appear in other contexts, such as the bag of holding in Dungeons and Dragons.
End quote. Yeah, it's a bag of holding. The next one is the mole sack, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, this was Harry Potter's bag. Essentially, it's a bag that can only be opened by the person that owns it, so I assume it would require attunement. For what it is, that's kind of garbage. I didn't say, but because it's owned by someone, you either need a passcode or like an attunement slot out of it to keep the rogue from getting into it. What's next? But yeah, for clarification, it can only be opened by the person that owns it.
The flu powder.
Yes. So it's just powder, and you throw it into a fireplace, and you're standing in the fireplace already, and then you throw it down in the fireplace, and then you teleport elsewhere into another fireplace. I would probably open it up to where there are like designated flu zones, which sounds very bad, given the fact that the flu exists. Didn't think that one through. But yeah. Fluing zone? No, that doesn't sound good. Designated powder teleportation zone. That doesn't sound good either. Yeah, whatever. I would broaden it to where you could use flu powder elsewhere aside from fireplaces. Just kind of as a general thing, but that's more me. Technically, canonically, you can only do it in... Can you only do it in fireplaces? Because at one point they were like flushing themselves down something, and I don't want to go there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that was flu, though. I think they only used flu powder in the fireplace, and I think they teleported to a cauldron area at one point. I'm confused now.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, they were flushing themselves somewhere, and I would not do that.
No.
I would prefer to teleport via fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Time turners?
Yes, so time turner is what Hermione Granger was using to go like back and forth in time to catch all of her classes. Nerd! Sorry. But yeah. Essentially, it's just a time thing. You have to get within, 10 feet? 5 feet-ish, whatever. And then you can turn the dial and go back in time, and it's really cool. Really useful. Is there anything else that I said there, or is that it?
Excessive use would be defined as more than twice per day.
Oh, yeah. I said that using it too much would probably give you exhaustion. and that the excessive use would be more than like twice a day. So you could go back a couple of hours at a time. I'd probably limit it to somewhere like 3 hours at a time, just so you don't get them going, well, I only did it once. Yeah, but you teleported 4 years back. What? Like, yeah, technically you only did it once, but we're gonna have a problem. So yeah, limit it to like 3, maybe 4 hours of of back in time at a time, and then if they used it more than twice, they would gain a point of exhaustion for that time, and then every time after. So at most, they could use it 8 times before they die, because too many times. What's next?
Liquid luck.
Okay, this is the final item we have, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And essentially, for a duration of the DM's choosing, I would go with somewhere like an hour. Given how small the vial was, it was pretty small vial. But it would give the drinker advantage on every check they had to make. So, that they were conscious for. Unfortunately, they're not conscious for death saving throws, ergo, therefore, they do not have advantage on death saves. But any ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, they would have advantage for. This would not affect someone else's saves against their spells. I want to be clear there. It would not impose disadvantage on a spell save, only for their own benefit. It can't be used to inversely affect someone else. But yeah, that is all I have for you fine adventurers today. Be on the lookout for my next series here in a little while. I'll give you a hint in my own fashion. My next series deals very heavily with a class. The title of this book is a class that was only mentioned once in this series. Do with that what you will. Please leave a comment down below with your guesses. I look forward to reading what you have to say. As always, feel free to come check out my Discord or come hang out on Twitch. I look forward to seeing you there. Also, just a friendly reminder, like and subscribe. If you've gotten this far in the series, or in the video, really, leave a like down below and make sure to subscribe so you can get notifications as to when I've released a video. Other than that, I will catch you all later.